Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Jailbreak Weekly, episode 21. I have my host on the line, Andy Hoff. What's going on, Andy?
Not a lot. I'm doing good, David. How you doing?
I'm doing really good. Now, this is actually like the first show in a long time where it's just you and I talking, which is, really weird because it hasn't been this way in like a long time.
I know it's been, I think, since episode 3, if my mind is, speaking properly. Yeah, I think it's been, because I remember I think Justin had some stuff to deal with back then, and I think Jarek did too. So, yeah, but it's pretty much same deal now. Justin has some stuff he has to deal with, some family stuff, but hopefully he'll be back next week.
And I don't know if, speaking of Jarek, I just wanted to kind of brush over that and say, basically, from what I get at, he's just kind of busy at this point right now. I mean, it's life, Yeah. Sometimes, you're busy and you can't really, do certain things at certain times. And this is one of those times where it's kind of like at this point in time, he really can't record right now. I think he might be back in a few months. I don't want to quote, I don't want to quote myself on that. So don't quote myself on that, but he should be back. He definitely will be back eventually. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I know that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But we'll keep you guys tuned in about everything that happens. But yeah, I think we're ready to start.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, but we got a lot of tweaks and we got some, a little bit of news to talk about too.
Yeah.
So, right. David, want to take us into the news?
Sure. So anyway, so basically what's going on here is this. What's going on here is the fact that 9.1 is Apple's latest firmware. 9.1 as of right now is not jailbreakable. There's no public jailbreak for 9.1. The latest jailbreak is 9.0.2 with Pangu 9. So, there's been a lot of rumors and speculation about when we're going to see a new jailbreak drop. Is it going to be for 9.1? Are we going to be seeing it for 9.2? I was a little bit skeptical at first that they were going to wait to 9.2 because, 9.1 seemed like everyone wanted it. But now it just kind of seems like, why not wait until 9.2? Like, it wouldn't make sense to drop it like now. But then again, these guys aren't the kind of people that, make a whole lot of sense. They'll just drop it in the middle of the night when no one's looking. And, so it's kind of just like whenever they're just going to do it whenever they want, like they always do. So like I said, I'm speculating it's going to be 9.2 because it's gonna make the most sense, obviously. So that's what we're waiting on. Basically, what we're waiting on is 9.2 is in beta 4, I think.
Yeah, it's in beta 4, and basically, so we were expecting the public release, this past week, because usually iOS 9 firmwares are, the public releases are generally released on Wednesday. That's been the trend, and we were expecting, the public release.
Wednesday at 10 Pacific, right?
Yeah. But unfortunately, that didn't happen this week. So I am 90% sure it's going to happen next week. So, basically, in turn, once that comes out, we're more likely to see, a potential new jailbreak come out because, the jailbreak teams will probably, it'd be a smarter idea for them to release a jailbreak for that.
Right.
Rather than 9.1, just so the jailbreak could survive longer and have a better firmware to run on.
Well, another thing is, and this wouldn't make any sense. I think we're past the point of this, honestly, if this were to be the case, like with the previous jailbreak, where maybe 9.2 patches certain exploits, certain vulnerabilities that they have.
Right.
And they were going to have to, if they have all this stuff together, they're going to have to release it for 9.1 because, obviously that's going to be the only way that this jailbreak is going to be achieved if it gets patched to 9.2. But I think at this point, if that were to be the case, I feel like they probably would have released it already.
That's true. But again, you never know. Theoretically, they could discover a vulnerability late in the game in the next, few days or whatever. It only works for 9.1. So it's basically the moral of the story is just you never know what's going to happen, but most likely because jailbreaks usually rely on exploits that are not disclosed to the public. Most likely we'll be seeing a jailbreak for 9.2 or later, possibly even 9.3 or who knows in the future. But again, I'm betting on 9.2 as well. But again, Well, we'll keep you guys updated, of course, when new jailbreaks come out. We usually record an emergency episode
Yeah.
the day of the release. So
Right.
yeah, definitely.
So what I'm wondering is maybe something's going on with the firmware, like internally, that's making, Apple hold it off and say it's not ready for public
Yeah,
release yet.
that's true because it's been, how many weeks has it been since
I don't know,
beta
it's been a long
4?
time. Because, well, you have to remember too, when 9.1 was in beta 4, I believe, it was the same, beta number, I think, around that, beta 3, beta 4, beta 5, because I think it went up to beta 5 and then it, went to GM release. But, during that time, 9.2 got released in beta 1. Like, it got released with beta 1. So they were testing. They've been testing 9.2 as a firmware since before 9.1 was released. So
I don't know. Yeah, it's been a
going
while.
back. Yeah, that's going back at least a few months because 9.1 has been out for a little while already. So that's going back.
So okay, so the last release of 8.2 beta, and that's being beta 4, that was released on November 18th. So it's been, did I say 8.2?
Yeah.
Okay, 9.2 was released on November 18th. So it's been a couple of weeks. So yeah, we should definitely be seeing, if not the public release, definitely a new beta next week. I'm really hoping that there's not a new beta because that just pushes the release further.
I don't think there's going to be a new beta because if they had plans to make a new beta, it would have happened like this past week. Like they would have came out with a new beta this past week. Like it doesn't make any sense. They've missed, a few weeks already. It doesn't make sense to drop a new beta when like 9.2 probably under the hood, it's probably more of an under the hood firmware. Like under the hood, it internally changes stuff, but visually or features wise, there's nothing new. So, I mean, it's not like there could be stuff going on with like bugs and glitches and stuff. I really haven't. Have you heard anything though? I haven't really heard anything like that.
No, but you never know what's going on. Theoretically, there could be some bug they just discovered that they need to fix with a new beta or something. But generally, I would say it's probably going to come out next week. So if that was the case, if it was going to be released on Wednesday next week, that'd be December 9th. So that's what we're hoping for.
And that, you know what? And that's a really good point because that puts us on a great time slot in terms of a jailbreak. Because if okay, here's the thing. If they wait until Christmas and do like an evasion type thing, and then
because that doesn't happen.
Right when an Invasion 7 type thing, right when like a few days before Christmas they drop the jailbreak, people are gonna like that like a lot more because
a lot of people are on holiday break. Yeah.
Here's happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever. Here's a jailbreak for 9.2. You can jailbreak 9.2 now. Sorry for the wait, whatever, here's the jailbreak now. It works. All right, guys. So that's pretty much it for the news right now. Obviously, like Andy said earlier, if anything happens in terms of a new jailbreak releasing or in terms of anything, any type of, big news, we obviously are going to be talking about it. More likely than not, we're going to try to hop on here for an emergency podcast. We'll see how our schedules work out. Sometimes we're able to do it. Sometimes we're not, but I would say most likely we're probably going to be able to do it. So Andy, I know, and I know some stuff too, but like, you're always the guy on the podcast to go to ask for these things. So I'm just going to ask you, what are the new tweaks for this week that we've got?
Yeah, so we have a bunch of tweaks. Because we had the William Vabrinskas interview last week. By the way, if you guys didn't check that out, we'll drop it in the description, but we had kind of a special episode, so we didn't really get to talk about many tweaks. So
that was a lot of fun. It was amazing. Thank you, William. Also, if you're listening to this episode, thank you so much for coming on last week. We had a blast recording. Absolutely. I think I speak for everyone when I say that. But so
definitely, yeah. So we have a bunch of tweaks, some updates too. So I guess we'll start off with not a new tweak, but an update to Activator, which is obviously huge.
I love this.
Yeah, huge Cydia tweak. So basically, it was updated with support for 3D touch actions on the new 6S and 6S Plus, and also with Taptic Engine actions as well. So basically, of course, there's a new section if you have a 6S when you open up Activator. Called 3D Touch. You could configure certain things to happen when you 3D touch on certain areas. For example, status bar, the screen bottom right, screen bottom left, and screen bottom center. So you can set it so any activator action will happen when you 3D touch on those areas. So that's the first feature. Of course, that just makes the experience on the 6S that much better. And also for the taptic engine support, basically, if you scroll all the way down, in the activator actions list, underneath the vibration section, you can basically assign taptic engine, functions. So there's the flick, quirk, and tap. Those are like the 3 different taptic engine features. You can set it so when you do a particular action, you'll get that, you'll get the feedback. You could also pair it with another action, so you could have it do something and give you haptic feedback. For example, you could have it so maybe it turns maybe on your Wi-Fi, turn on and off Wi-Fi, and also give you the haptic feedback. So there's also a bunch of other features with Activator. There's a bunch of bug fixes and whatnot. Those are just the 2 major features. So, Dave, did you get a chance to check this out?
I did, and I have to say I love this update. He really outdid himself. Like, this is actually like probably one of the best updates to Activator that I've seen in a little while, in my opinion. Like, this is great. Like, first off, we have the ability to go in and, just use 3D touch for certain things. So you're able to use 3D touch to actually, like, if I wanted to set up Super Slam, I could use 3D touch. That kind of thing is super awesome, being able to use 3D touch for that type of thing. The one thing that I don't like about this is the fact that there's not, there's not as many options for 3D touch. Like, they only give you, there's only he only gives you 3 3D touch options, right?
Yeah, it's it's 4.
4, okay.
Yeah.
Right. So, well, my big deal with this is the fact that you're not able to, there's certain places where you're not able, like, for example, I use OXO Legacy Edition a lot because unfortunately OXO, the real one, OXO 3 or 4, but it's probably going to be called now, has not been updated for iOS 9. So right now I'm using Legacy because that just got updated. And it's a great tweak. And what I would really like to do is, when I tap and hold on, a little app card, it says, are you sure you want to close like all the apps? Like, do you want to close all apps, in the switcher that are running right now? So what I really would like to have is, I would also like to have that, one of those haptic, or what I really would like to have is one of those taptic feedback, things like flick or quirk or, whatever they're called. That would be really cool to have those, function. But obviously, because there's only like 4 things, and, the bottom half of the screen is not like one, like, I wish there was a way to, do it for a specific action on a specific place.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
yeah, with something like OXO Legacy Edition, because that's its own separate tweak, that probably requires some other work. But, I see what you mean. Like, I think it's, I'm sure we'll see other tweaks that, allow you to 3D touch on certain areas to do certain things. I'm sure we'll see, updates to other tweaks. I'm sure a lot of people will build off of 3D touch with the Jailbreak community.
Yeah.
But I still think this is like a very good start, and I think it's, tons of things could be built, using these activator actions.
Speaking of which, I don't know if this is, I don't know if we're probably not talking about it, but I'm sorry in advance because I'm just popping this on you. But I don't know if you saw this on Twitter, but there was a CPDigitalDarkroom for like tweak battles or whatever, made this like 3D touch style app switcher. It looks really cool. I don't remember what it's called, but that's, just another example of people innovating with 3D touch.
Right. Yeah. We'll drop that in the description, that, his tweet. But yeah, I mean, again, there's lots of new 3D touch tweaks. We actually have one that we're going to talk about in a second. There's also, there's several for, I wouldn't say there's several actually, come to think of it, but there's definitely a few out there.
Yeah.
Some of which we've talked about in previous episodes. But once again, this is, the new update to Activator. It's version 1.9.7. You can update now. Again, those are just the 2 major features. There's tons of bug fixes and small adjustments, but again, those are the main
I
features.
wonder if did he fix the issue where on iOS 9 with 4-inch displays, there was like a huge, like black line issue. You remember that?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's so basically, if you had a 4-inch device, I believe, I don't know if this is all devices, but at least some, it would give
Yeah.
you like the 4S resolution with the 2 black bars. I'm not sure. Okay, so it was fixed on my device, on my
Oh, it
iPhone
was
Touch, but
okay. See,
I'm not sure.
I haven't gone into Activator on my iPod yet, so I can't I probably should. Here, let me see to verify here. Let's see if I'm pretty sure I updated Activator on my iPod. Let's see, where are we here?
Yeah.
Activator. Yeah, okay, so yeah, it does. The latest update does fix that issue. Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool, nice. So once again, Activator version 1.9.7. It's a free update, of course. All right, so next up, we have a tweak called 3D notifications. You can get this one for $1.50. And basically, what this tweak does is it allows you to peek and pop into notifications in the notification center. So basically, when you bring the notification center, let's say you have a message notification, now you could just use 3D Touch on the new iPhone to peek into that notification, and it'll basically show you the whole conversation of that particular message. It also has support for a few other types of notifications. It's all listed within the Cydia post. But it doesn't support every app, but it supports many. And of course, you could pop into it by pushing all the way in. It's basically just 3D. It's basically just peek and pop for the notification center.
Right.
And yeah, it's cool. Did you get a chance to check this out, David?
I wish I could say yes. I mean, okay, so here's how it went. So I downloaded it, but I've been extremely lazy recently and haven't decided to uninstall 3D Touch to clear all notifications or whatever whatever it's called. But I think it's a tweak we talked about previously in one of the previous episodes, a little while back. But basically what that does is it's become one of my favorite 3D Touch jailbreak tweaks, just because it's so simple, and it's so integrated that it's like all I have to do is swipe down on Notification Center. Because sometimes, even though I don't use Notification Center that much, I still don't love it to be all that cluttered when I don't need all those notifications because I already know what's going on. So it's really easy to just 3D Touch and clear all and all.
Yeah, this is a separate tweak, just for anyone who's confused. This is 3D Touch to clear notifications, and then there's this tweak which is called 3D notifications, which allows you to peek and pop. It's kind of confusing, but yeah, I mean the names are similar, but two different tweaks. Just wanted to clear that up. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. So basically, the problem with that is the fact that since it uses 3D Touch on Notification Center, both of them do. If you have either one installed, it's not gonna let either one work. So if you had
the conflict,
if you had 3D Touch notifications, is what it's called, right?
Yeah. It's just 3D notifications.
Okay, If you had 3D notifications installed and then you installed 3D Touch to clear all notifications on your device, then 3D Touch to clear all notifications would be the one that actually wouldn't work, and 3D notifications would be the one that actually would work. So depending on which one, I guess you install first, whichever one would or wouldn't work. But yeah, so that's basically where I am at this point for this tweak. I installed it. I just haven't used it yet because I haven't gotten to uninstall the other tweak, which will actually, let me use this as soon as I, uninstall that. But yeah, I've seen this in action. It actually looks really, really nice. I'm liking the way this tweak looks.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it just gives you a little bit of context. You're just swiping through your notification center. You see a message. You just want to see maybe the previous context. You could peek into it, and of course, pop if you want to reply. So you could also swipe up, and you get some other actions depending on the type of notification you have, like reply, forward if it's a message. It also, again, it depends on what the type of notification. You could also swipe to the right, and you could clear the notification from the notification center. It has a really nice animation too. So yeah, It's just a very well designed tweak. And as I said this in my video, basically I always like tweaks that build off of something that Apple so basically 3D Touch, for example, it has potential. Apple, created a very, decent technology.
It's like Touch
ID. It's not living up to its potential. So these tweaks unlock it to work in other areas and, making it, more useful. So once again, 3D notifications, $1.50. Definitely check that out.
The only thing that I don't understand is it really seems like, and I'm really hoping and crossing my fingers that Apple with new iOS iterations decides to do more and more with 3D Touch, because it seems like something, this tweak in particular seems like something that Apple should have done just right off the bat in general. Like,
I know. Yeah.
swiping down on Notification Center and being able to peek and pop into those notifications seems like something that would just be first nature. It doesn't make sense to me why that wouldn't be included, because it seems so simple. It's like, why not have that be a feature? Because peek and pop virtually everywhere else is a feature. So
yeah, I know. It's true. Again, it's just one of those things that probably will be implemented later, but
yeah. Well, actually, except for the home screen. Yeah, the home screen, you can't really peek and pop. On stock iOS anyway. Jailbroken, that's a different story. But stock iOS, you can't really do that as of yet. But
yeah. So once again, 3D notifications. Yeah, go check that out. So next up, we have AppDrawer. This is a fairly old one. It's from a few weeks ago, but again, we kind of missed last week, so I thought I'd just mention it. Basically, this is available for, let me just check my price here. It's available for $1.49. And what it allows you to do is it lets you basically bring up an Android-style app drawer on your device. So basically, after you install the tweak, you get an app on your home screen just called Apps. It's just titled Apps. When you tap on this, it just brings up this little overlay on your springboard, and it shows you all the apps that are installed on your device in a very Android-esque manner. So, of course, normally in Android, you have the little drawer that you could tap on and it shows you all your apps. This basically just kind of brings similar functionality to iOS. You could add favorites as well. There's two tabs. There's an apps tab and a favorites tab. If you go into the settings for the tweak, you could basically toggle certain apps to be your favorites. So they'll show up in the favorites section. And, I really do like this tweak. It's, it's very stable. Everything works well. It looks nice. Everything is just very well designed. It's clean looking, and yeah, it just works as advertised. It's not really it's not really something that I keep on my device and use on a regular basis because I'm not really an Android guy. So this isn't something that I'm going to be using on a regular basis. But again, I respect tweaks that port features from other OSs to iOS because, again, that's what Jailbreak is about, being able to do whatever you want. So what do you think about this tweak, David?
I don't know. It's kind of like, like, honestly, like you said, I'm not an Android guy. I really doubt I would install this and keep it on my device. I would probably do what I normally do and install it and keep it on my device and forget that I had it installed. And that would probably be the only reason why I would still have it installed.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah, that's what I actually tend to do with a lot of tweaks. Like I honestly just forget they're even installed on my device. Like I install it and just like completely forget they're there.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like that's probably, like, if I kept it, that's probably what would actually end up happening.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, we're going to bring this up several times, but it's great that you have the opportunity to be able to do this, though, because jailbreaking is all about customizing your device, and the fact that you're able to make it into Android or do whatever you want to it is just more power to, the community itself, because, we're able to do more, and we're able to push the boundaries, push the limits, do stuff Apple doesn't want us to, make it more like Android, make it more like whatever, and kind of change up the way, it runs and stuff, and modify it, and, kind of make your phone the way you want, which I think, is kind of the underlying thing with jailbreaking, is you're able to customize it to your liking.
Yeah, definitely. That's true. So yeah, once again, it's called AppDrawer. It's $1.99. And I also just wanted to quickly mention there's another tweak called Fern. Which
basically does the same thing.
Yeah, it's strange. So basically, these two tweaks were released at the same exact time. Completely separate developers too.
I think honestly the only difference between this and Fern is the fact that this actually has an app on the springboard, if I'm right.
Yeah, the AppDrawer has an app, and Fern use an Activator gesture, and there are some slight visual tweaks. Fern looks different. Fern's design is less inspired by Android and more just kind of its own thing, but it looks very similar. It's extremely similar.
It's kind of like the same, mentality and the same form factor, but just a little bit of a different design aspect, I guess.
Yeah. Honestly, I just think this was a coincidence. I think two people just came up with the same idea at the same time.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I made reviews on both of these tweaks, so we'll just drop them both in the description. You can look at both of them and decide which one you want to use, I guess.
And I mean, okay, so bringing up Fern, I actually did have that installed for a little while, and literally it crashed every single time I had to uninstall it. It was crazy. It kept crashing my phone.
Oh,
I don't know
I don't know. Who knows? Again, like when you have mini tweaks installed, sometimes just stuff just goes weird.
And it does that even now. Like, I don't even know if it's accurate, but Crash Reporter tells me like constantly that things are crashing. Like, it'll say like something D crashed, or like sometimes it'll say like Cydia crashed when Cydia didn't crash, or sometimes it'll just like say random stuff. So I don't even know how accurate Crash Reporter is, if it's even accurate. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, when you have a jailbroken device and when you're installing tons of tweaks, sometimes that happens. Like I always try to go in and remove stuff I'm not using just to kind of make it smoothing things out. But yeah.
What's funny is that I've noticed when I have my Apple Watch on, sometimes I'll be sitting in class and I get a ping from my watch and I look over and it'll tell me that the springboard crashed on my watch. It'll let me know that my phone springboard crashed. I'm like, well, that's cool. Yeah, it lets you. Yeah, it gives you like a watch, little notification that, oh, hey, just letting you know your iPhone just crashed.
Yeah,
maybe
I know.
You should know that.
Yeah, it's cool though. Yeah, like having phone notifications sent to the watch. Yeah, of course. So, once again, Fern is one tweak. AppDrawer is another. They're very similar, but similar functionality with both. Even though they're different tweaks and different developers.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. So next up, we have a very interesting tweak. This is called SmartTouch. This one's available for 99 cents. And this tweak, I don't know. I think, because the description of this tweak, I think it was just poorly translated in English, which is
it's confusing.
Yeah, and that's fine. Sometimes it's hard. So I think because of that, I think a lot of people kind of overlook this tweak, but I think it's a really, really useful tweak. Basically, what it allows you to do is it's really hard to explain. Basically, it places. So basically, after you install the tweak, you need to set an activator gesture. Once you perform the gesture, you'll get these dots that appear on your screen. And basically, you can configure how many sets of dots, but there's like a bigger dot of a certain color, and then there's a smaller dot of that same color. So I have, like, for example, 2 red dots and 2 blue dots. And, so there's one big red dot, one small red dot, one big blue dot, one small blue dot. Okay. So basically
I was just going to say, speaking of things crashing, Crash Reporter just let me know that backup D has crashed and there are no suspects, my bad. Yeah.
Well, there you go. But anyways, okay, so how it works is you place the smaller dot on the area of the screen that you want to activate, and then when you tap the larger dot, it'll activate that part of the screen. So basically, how you'd probably want to use this is you'd put the smaller dots towards the top of the screen to access areas from the bottom. So it's kind of like reachability in a sense. So I could have like the bigger dots on the bottom and the smaller dots on the top. You can just drag them all around freely. And when you tap on the bigger dot, it'll activate the part of the screen where the smaller dot is. This is so confusing.
Yeah.
I'll drop my video in the description down below. That'll definitely be out by the time this podcast is out. So
yeah, I was gonna say, is there gonna be a video on this?
Yes.
It seems like it's hard to verbally tell you without visually showing.
Oh my god, it's so hard to explain. But it's a really useful tweak because you could basically access touch zones of the screen from the bottom of the screen that are on the top of the screen. Yeah.
It's a cool idea.
It is.
Yeah.
I showed David. Yeah, I showed David the tweet.
I haven't personally used it, but I've seen, the way it's been used via Andy. So thank you.
You're welcome. So once again, this is SmartTouch, 99 cents. Really useful tweak. Again, just check the video. It's just so hard to explain. I'll definitely be keeping it on my device for sure. Yeah. So there you go. So next up, we have homemade bread. This is an interesting tweak. This one's available for $1.50. Basically, what this tweak does is it allows you to, so basically, those breadcrumbs when you're in one app and you get redirected to another app, and how on the top of the screen it says back to the previous app. basically with this tweak, when you click on one of those and you're, and you've been redirected, this tweak, so when you press the home button, this tweak will make the home button serve as the back button, if that makes any sense. So it's actually really useful.
Okay.
So let's say I was in Safari and I clicked the YouTube link, I was taken to YouTube.
Right.
Normally, if I click the home button, it would just take me to the home screen. But with this tweak, it takes me back to Safari. So yeah, it just basically makes the home button serve as a back button. I think I can see this being convenient. Yeah.
So let me see if I understand what you're saying. So basically what you're saying is little breadcrumbs that pop up, like when you, let's say, open up Twitter and then you open up, a little internet, like you open up Safari, let's say, with like an internet page, then it'll say like back to Twitter. Instead of having to like basically press on that little button, would you just press on the home button and it would take you back?
Exactly, yes. And the breadcrumbs are still there, but they're not necessary. You could just push the home button, it'll take you right back. And of course, if you push the home button again, it would take you to the home screen. But it's just kind of, whenever there's a breadcrumb, it basically uses the home button to go back. And it's convenient, it makes sense, because sometimes I don't want to go to the home screen. I just want to go back to the previous app. So it's just easy. And again, it's not for everyone. Not everyone, like to use this, but
right.
It feels natural, it feels like stock, and it just feels normal. So I definitely like it. Yeah, once again, it is $1.50. So David, what do you think about this tweak? Was this something you'd use?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's kind of one of these things where it's cool. I don't know if I would pay how much, $1.50 you said?
Yeah, $1.50.
I don't know if I'd pay $1.50 to be able to, use this tweet. It kind of seems like a steep, because a lot of things are like 99 cents. $1.50 is kind of like, I mean, it's not too much more, but it's kind of like a little bit weird for the functionality you're getting. Like, I definitely could see where this could be handy and helpful, but at the same time, it seems like something that would be free. So I don't know. In my opinion, these kind of tweaks, these kind of tweaks, in my opinion, should be free.
Yeah, I know. I mean, again, you never know how much development, how much work, it was put into it. So it's hard to judge. True. But again, I understand. Some tweaks just aren't worth your money, depending on how you use your device. But yeah, I still have it installed. I rarely, click on redirects. Usually I just don't encounter them. But when I do, I'll definitely be using this. I think this is something I'll keep for sure. So once again, it is called Homemade Bread. It is $1.50. Next up, we have Kill Background 9. Basically, this is a continuation of a previous tweak. There was originally a version for iOS 6 and below that allows you to kill all your apps, and the app switcher with a little skull button in the bottom of the app switcher. Later on, some developers ported that to iOS 7 and 8, and now some of the same developers, but some new developers ported it to iOS 9 with this tweak, Kill Background 9. Basically does the same thing as I said. It basically puts a little skull and crossbones at the bottom of your app switcher. When you click it, it'll kill all your apps. And this is, I'm not sure about the price here because I already purchased it. And Cydia doesn't tell you the price. Let me just quickly look this up real quick.
Is there so let me just ask you something. Is there in terms of like, I guess just in general, so if you bought it, let's say on 7 and 8, because what I'm assuming is if you have like the original version.
So this is the thing here. It was for up until this point, it's been a free tweak. Back on iOS 6 and below, it was free. Back with the 7 and 8 version was free as well. This is the first time it's paid, the iOS 9 version.
So I wonder if it took a lot more time to update. Maybe it did.
Yeah, it's very well possible that that's the case.
See, I would think that in general, I would think that that 7 would be the hard one to,
I know, yeah, and who knows? It may have been, and you never know why tweaks are X amount of money, but okay, okay. So here it is, 99 cents. So it's just a 99-cent tweak.
Okay, yeah. So that's not too bad, but it's kind of weird how it went to being from free to 99 cents just for no reason.
Well, okay. So you also have to keep in mind, like you said, 7 was a pretty big app switcher change. So who knows? Right. I'm not sure why, but also 9 was a relatively big app switcher change. We got the new cover flow.
Yeah. But I would think,
Yeah.
so if a new developer is picking it up for 7 and, you know, the app switcher looks completely different, I would think that that would give them, you know, insight to make it, you know, a paid jailbreak tweak. Like, hey, I'm taking over the project now. You know, 7's, you know, a big change in terms of the app switcher. So it's going to take a long time for me to update this. So I'm going to start charging like 99 cents for it, you know, for the update or whatever. So, you know, I feel like it probably would have made more sense, you know, to start charging for it on 7. But I could see, you know, because obviously 7 to 8, the app switcher didn't change. Then 7 to 9, you know, the app switcher did change on 9. So I can understand why, obviously, on 9 he decided to do that. But
Yeah.
I really feel like it probably would have been better to seize that opportunity with 7. Honestly.
Well, also keep in mind there is a new developer on board with, you know, kill background 9.
Oh, with 9 as well? Oh,
yeah, it's very
that-
complicated. You know, the first tweak for 6 had 1 developer. The 7 and 8 one had 2 developers, and one of those developers continued to work on 9, but one of them dropped
Okay.
off, and then there's a new one to fill the one that dropped off's place, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, but again, kind of back to the tweak. Again, it places a little skull and crossbones at the corner of the app switcher. You just click it and it kills all your apps. If you go into the settings, there's some good options. You could have the button on the left or have the button on the right. It's up to you.
So you can't, like, you know, drag it to like rearrange it. Like, you have to go in. Would you have to respring, or do you change?
Oh no, everything just happens on its own, and it's, you know, it's very nice. It's basically just like a little teeny button in the corner. It's almost unnoticeable, but it's very easy to click. There's also a big buttons option. If you want to make it bigger, you could have, you know, larger skull and crossbones buttons to click, you know, to make it a little bit easier. Right. There's also some music settings. You could have it so it doesn't, you know, kill the music app if you're playing music. You could also have a list of all your apps on your device if you want to basically have a white list so it doesn't kill certain apps.
Right.
And there's various other options as well.
So is there, like, is it just the, you know, the skull and crossbow? Like, is there any other, you know, image to, you know, that little button, or is it just the skull and crossbones?
Well, there's the big skull and crossbones, and there's the small skull and crossbones, but basically that's it. It's very discreet, you know. It's nice and you know, minimal, which I like.
Minimalistic. There you go.
Minimalistic. Ultra minimalistic. Yeah, but yeah, once again, Killbucker 9, 99 cents. Yeah, really, you know, it's just one of those tweaks that I think I'll probably be keeping. I have other tweaks that allow me to kill all the apps, but you know, again, it's one of those things that I'll probably keep because it's so subtle, you know.
Right.
I just like having it down there. Good stuff. So that just about wraps up the tweak section. Obviously, you know, we didn't talk about every tweak that has been released, but those are the ones that stood out to us the most, for sure.
For sure, yeah.
Absolutely. So, is there anything else, David, you'd like to talk about?
I really don't think so, honestly. I mean, if you guys didn't listen to the podcast last week, we will definitely have a link in the description so you guys can check out last week's podcast. We had you know, as we mentioned earlier on in the show, we had a fantastic, you know, we had a fantastic show last week. We definitely had a great time recording. William's an awesome guy, and he was just very easygoing about the questions. We kind of just eased into it. It really wasn't even much of an interview. It was more of just kind of like hang out, chill.
Yeah,
like,
it was just a conversation.
Yeah. It was like a structured interview, but like we were talking like, you know, we like knew each other, and I don't know. It was just like, it was a cool kind of like vibe. Like it was an interview, but it wasn't like a traditional interview where like, you know, it's very formal and, you know, you can't laugh or else like it's like weird, but like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. I think, we were very, you know, everything was comfortable and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice.
So again, if you want to see that, also if you want to see us interview Ryan Petrich and Shernix going along with the trend of interviews, I guess we'll have that in the description as well. That was a lot of fun too. Unfortunately, I was not physically there for that interview.
It was a jailbreak con.
Yeah, I actually helped make those questions with Andy.
Yes.
But I was not able to make it out to Jailbreak Con. They were supposed to wire me in. I don't know why you guys. Well, I know why you guys didn't, but hopefully this year you guys are able to wire me in if I'm not able to go, which it probably is looking like at this point.
We're gonna try to get a Wi-Fi hotspot going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so I think that pretty much wraps up this episode.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. So if you want to listen to last week's episode, like we were talking about, that'll be in the description. If you want to listen to the Jailbreak Con episode where we interviewed Chernix and Ryan Petrich, two other really, really great guys in the community, that'll be in the description as well. Thank you guys so much for listening this week. Please be sure to share this podcast with anyone you know, everyone you know. Make sure your grandfather is talking about it, your grandmother is talking about it, your aunt, your uncle, your cousin, your second and third cousins, your dog, your cat, your fish, your whatever. It doesn't matter. Make sure everyone is tuning in. Make sure everyone that is interested in this, would be interested in this, knows about this, because when you do this, you're helping us grow. So that's definitely something that we would definitely be happy for. But anyway, guys, that pretty much wraps up this week's episode, and we will talk to you guys next week with episode number 22. Until next time, this is the Jailbreak Weekly crew signing out. Later, guys.
Catch you later.
All right. Good podcast, Andy. Good podcast. We messed up a lot while recording this episode. Here are some bloopers, and as always, enjoy. All right. Well, that's pretty much it for the news right now, at least, unfortunately. I mean, like Andy said, and we're going to keep saying this, if there is a jailbreak, we'll keep you guys. Son of a... That scared me so much.
Oh, you didn't expect it, did you?
I did not expect that, no.
Meanwhile, I tell you, it's so good to be back. So good.
Yeah. All right, guys. So, that's pretty much it for the news right now. Obviously, like Andy said earlier. Really? Are you going to keep doing that? Really, Andy? Come on. I'm gonna start randomly interrupting you whenever you're talking with just random noises. I'm gonna download a soundboard on my phone and just randomly play noises.
Okay, that's fair. You know what? Okay. I don't do it every time. I do it like the most. Okay.
Alright. Let's go. No foghorn, no cows, no loud noises. Right. No YouTube videos, none of that. Okay. Alright, let's actually do this. Come on now. Alright. So, Andy, do you, okay, let's, start from there.
Okay. Basically, this is a new tweak. It's available for, let's check it's higher this year. Oh man, fail! Let's check my own video. Alright, I'm gonna start the video. So. Okay, here we go. So.
Why do you keep doing it?
I don't know. I thought I had something to say. Okay, here we go.
So. I was waiting for when you were gonna say it.
I started to enunciate something.
Oh, my bad.
Here we go. So, Kill Background 9 is from the same two developers. Or, no, it's not actually. It's wrong. It's from one of the same developers. You know what? Screw this. This has been a huge failure. This has been a huge, colossal failure on my part. Just wording this, so I'm just gonna stop.